Thanks for tuning in to Andrea in the Morning. This is Andrea Raquel, the social entrepreneur and sugar-free coach. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in and following. I hope you've liked our page on Facebook. That's facebook.com/sugar-free coach, as well as on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at sugar-free coach. I will follow back and reciprocate. I always do. Good morning, living sugar-free sweethearts. It is a cold and foggy and slightly rainy fall morning where I am. I hope that you're having more sunshine than I'm seeing right now, but I understand a lot of people are having rain, so enjoy it. It's still beautiful. I hope that you were able to see that beautiful supermoon eclipse. It was something to behold for sure. If you were on your computer or watching it on TV because it was too cloudy, it's okay. You still saw it. It was definitely very beautiful. I saw some amazing pictures in various cities around the world, and it was definitely awesome. So, what do I want to talk to you about today? Well, I'm sure you saw in the title, we're talking about time management. But guess what? There's not really a such thing as time management. It's really priority management. If you have your priorities if you have your priorities in order, time is not an issue. You know, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It doesn't change. It doesn't change from 24 to 18 or from 24 to 30. One person that you see that you think is ultra productive doesn't have more than 24 hours. And one thing that you know is that anyone who's completely not productive doesn't have 16 hours. There are 24 hours in a day. What you choose to do with those hours is what we're discussing today. That's where your priorities come into play. And granted, there are some people who may not have their priorities in order. Granted, there are some people who undervalue themselves, so they don't place a lot of weight on their priorities. And then there are some people who are not honest with themselves about what their priorities are. You know, I've heard it said that whatever it is that you do, that's what you want to do. There are people who are always saying, oh, I wish I had time to. Well, in reality, if you really, really wanted to do that thing, you do it. If time is your only issue. Now, there's a lot of other issues. There are people who, they want to go to school, but guess what? They don't have the money. They want to write a book, but guess what? They don't have the money to get it published. There are people who, they want to change their career or advance their life or learn a new skill. And, that thing costs money and they can't afford it. I've heard, marketing salespeople who say that when people aren't ready to sign on the dotted line or make a commitment or invest in themselves, it's because they're not serious about it. Well, I think those people are a little short-sighted. In reality, there are some people in this world who just do not have the means or the resources to do a lot of the things that many of us enjoy. If you're listening to this recording right now, you're wealthier than a lot of other people in the world, a huge percentage. I don't know exactly what the statistics are, but you can look them up. If you're able to listen to my voice right now, you have means. You have a computer or you have not just a cell phone, but a smartphone. You have means. So we're not going to talk about what you're able to do or what you have the means to do. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what you choose to do with your time. And this recording was inspired by a very, very dear friend of mine who I think very highly of, and I don't think he'll mind if I say that this was inspired by him. He's very resourceful. He's very, very smart. He has means, and he feels as though he's not managing his time properly. Well, there are a lot of you like that. Many of you won't admit to it. Many of you aren't going to be as hard on yourself as he was on himself and say, oh, I'm such a dummy for not doing this thing that I want to do. Well, of course, living sugar-free is no negative self-talk, so I got on him for calling himself a dummy. But the point is that the reason that he's frustrated with himself is that he knows that he should shift his priorities. Now, this led me to a very interesting point, which I don't think some of you are going to like, but I'm the sugar-free coach for a reason. I tell it like it is. I tell the truth. And this is not about my truth and your truth. This is just a simple, basic life principle. If your priority is to go to work every day, then you're going to go to work every day. If your priority is to be committed to school, then you're going to be committed to school. If your priority is to take care of your family, then you are going to take care of your family. But don't work 80 hours a week and then say you don't have time for your family. Don't spend all of your time working and then say you don't have time to study. And certainly, please, please, please realize and recognize right this very second, if you have not before now, that you absolutely have enough hours in a day to do the things that it is that you truly, truly want to do. Now, you might have to lose a little bit of sleep, but how many of you know that anyone in this world who has ever done anything great didn't get much sleep while they were doing it? I don't know about you, but when I have something really, really major on my heart to get done, I can't sleep. I'm waking up, long before the sun comes up, wanting to get back at it. I sleep because I have to, because I'd pass out somewhere if I didn't. But if there is something that is really, really burning in my heart that I want to get accomplished, I'll go at it and go at it and go at it. Who cares about sleep? We can sleep when we're dead. So let's talk about this social media management thing. I just wanted to make an interesting point. It's interesting to me. I don't know if you'll think it's interesting, but I am in the top 10% of social media users. I didn't make that statistic up, and I didn't only get that statistic from one social media rating site that was trying to sell me something. I've been noted as being in the top 10% across now so far 4 different ranking sites that I've seen. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not in the top 10% of social media users because I spend all my time on social media. I don't. And you can ask anyone who knows me very, very well or who spends time around me in real life. I am not one of those people that they show you on TV or on commercials that is sitting at the dinner table looking at their phone. I am not one of those people who will be in mid-conversation with you and I can't pay attention to you because I'm so busy tweeting or posting. That is not me. First of all, I'm not really that social of a person. I don't go to parties. I don't hang out. I don't, go hang out with a group of friends. I'm not that type of person. I've been considered an introvert, all of the testing that you can take. I am somewhat of a loner. I am social because whatever it is that you do in this world, you're pretty much doing it for the sake of humanity. And I firmly believe that. I don't have to like everyone to love everyone. So I am using social media as my reasonable service to give back into the world and to pay it forward and to share my gifts and my talents and my knowledge, ideas, workarounds, solutions, whatever it is that I can bring to help be the change, to help make a difference in people's lives and to pay it forward. That's my reasonable service. Okay? So if I were volunteering at the soup kitchen or working at the Salvation Army or, doing a walk for cancer or whatever the many, many ways are that people do charity, give back, volunteer, what have you. All of those things still have to be prioritized and put into a schedule. You can't decide tomorrow that, I don't really have any money, but I'm just going to quit my job and I'm going to go volunteer full time. Well, you'll get put out of your house. You won't be able to eat. You won't be able to do certain things. You have to be reasonable. If you're not in a healthy state or if you're not in a good state physically or, well taken care of, how are you going to help someone else? How are you going to serve someone else? So no one really does that. That's pretty much a basic principle. Most people do volunteer work in their spare time. You may start a nonprofit and then that might be your job. But again, you prioritized it, you strategized on it. Another way to look at social media is everyone doesn't, do it as a business. Everyone doesn't do it as a charity. Some people just do it completely for the sake of being social. We have all types of clubs. We have small business networks and chambers of commerce and fraternities and sororities and acceptance clubs and all different types of human organizations in our society. And you may have heard me say this before. If not, this might be new to you. Social media is simply social networking with a new type of media. It's the media part of it that's changed. The social part of it has been around since the dawn of man. We have always been a social community as humanity. People have always been social. Okay? So let's look at how you prioritize your social activities. When you were in school, were you one of those people who, instead of getting your homework done at night, you were laying across your bed chit-chatting on the phone? Were you one of those people that when you have to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, you were at the club the night before until 3 or 4 o'clock? Are you one of those people who goes to work and gets paid an hourly wage and then you go into the break room and stand around at the water cooler and chit-chat with people all day? I'm not one of those people. I believe in delayed gratification. I believe in getting your work done first, and then you have all the time in the world to hang out, goof off, chit-chat, whatever it is, be social, whatever it is you want to do. And sometimes, in the name of being community-minded, we're really just being social. Okay? So, if you're not in the top 10% of social media users, and you don't run a business that's based on social media, what is the point of you messing with your schedule and your priorities to the point of where you don't have time to do the things that it is you're supposed to do because you're too busy Facebooking? Or you feel bad that you can't Facebook often enough because you're working? This makes no sense to me. It really, really makes no sense. That to me is like saying that you don't have time to chit-chat at the water cooler because you're too busy building your empire. Does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense. That's like saying that you don't have time to develop this new skill because you were too busy hanging out at a party. I know y'all don't want to hear this because social media is so big and it's so important and so many people are so involved in it, but it's not new. I've said it before. If you are on the internet building a brand, you should be focused, you should have a strategy, and you should have a plan. It's okay if you're not. Everyone doesn't have to build an online brand, but even if you're not, you have to realize, even if you just work a job, even if you don't work at all and you're just a community person or you're just a homemaker or whatever it is, you still have a brand image. You still have people that you're touching and people whose lives you're influencing. And what example do you want to set? What image do you want to portray? And if that's fine, maybe you have all the money in the world, you have no worries, you have no care, your family is perfect, your finances are perfect, you've achieved everything you want to achieve in life, you've met all your goals, and you just want to get on the internet and just hang out and socialize. That's fine. That's your business. Just don't complain about it, and don't stress about how you find the time to do it, or complain about it being addictive, or finding time to spend time with family. That is completely ridiculous. If you allow your family to get together and have family time and everyone is on their phone, that's utterly ridiculous, unless you're all playing a game that you're sharing across phones. That's okay. You can get together and play video games with your family. My point is, it's about priorities, and we need to start looking at our priorities a little bit more realistically and stop letting technology and social media control our mind and our concepts and the way that we think about everything. Nobody's addicted to social media. That's ridiculous. People who quote unquote look like they're addicted to social media, if they were around or if they were adults before social media existed, those were the people who were always on the telephone. Those were the people who are always, socializing and with their friends. There are those types of people, and that's okay. Social media is a substitute, if you will, or a connection. It's another way to communicate with other humans. It's no different than the telephone, the television, the TV, etc. It's about the people. It's not about the technology. So don't get so caught up in the fact that we have this new technology and make it about the technology unless that's your lane. If your lane and your area of expertise is technology, great. But if it's not, you should not be making social media out to be this huge thing that you have to manage. Because as a person who's in the top 10% of social media users, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't take all that. It doesn't take all that to maintain an audience. It doesn't take all that to maintain your ratings. It doesn't take all of that to communicate your message. It does not take all of that. I've only been doing it for 8 years. Okay? So let's talk about your priorities. If your desire is to learn how to, let's talk about some of the things I've done. If your desire is to learn how to ride a motorcycle or learn how to fly a plane or continue on your degree, get a PhD maybe, or write a book or launch a television show or what have you, that should be your priority. If you find yourself having a hard time balancing a new skill that you want to learn or a new project that you would like to accomplish with the amount of time you spend on social media, you need to tell yourself, would I have a hard time learning how to do this new skill versus talking to someone on the telephone or versus standing around at the water cooler chit-chatting with people? No, I wouldn't. You absolutely would not. And I'm here to tell you that you need to look at social media the same way. If you have people in your audience, in your friend circle, in your network, in your family, or whatever, who act like you're supposed to be available and accessible to them every 5 minutes, you may need to distance yourself from those people. There's no way in the world that I can expect that because I send you a message on Facebook or post something on your wall, that there's a certain time limit that you have to get back to me. You might be someone who only checks into social media once a month. I know people like that, and they're very influential. You might be someone who only checks in every 3 months because you travel the world. That's your business and your choice. There are some people who post all day, every day, and that's how they grow their audience. That's their choice. That works for them. But you cannot look at what someone else is doing and then try to emulate it. Maybe they've achieved all their goals. Maybe they're completely focused on social media. That's their choice. But for you, you need to decide what your priorities are. And social media is not a priority. It is a tool of communication between humans. Get it straight, people. Okay? So your schedule should look like this. Oh, I go to work between these hours. When I get off, I'm studying. On these days, I do my charity work. And that's it. You don't put social media on your priority list. Now, you can have a social media calendar, especially if you're a brand. There are a lot of tools that you can use that automate. You can take all of your content and you can put them into those tools and you can make them post automatically once a day or 10 times a day or once a week if you want to. By doing that, you are keeping your audience informed and you're keeping your content available. You can go in one day a week and you can set up, or one day a month even, and you can set up all of your posts that you want and schedule them over a period of time. That's not part of your priority list, okay? That's something that you do in order to meet another goal on your priority list. Maybe your goal is to write a book and build an audience. Okay, within that, the objectives for that goal, you're going to set a marketing plan, and social media would be part of that. Maybe your goal is to connect more deeply with your family and friends. Okay, that's a great goal. You set your objectives up for that goal, and maybe social media will be part of that. Okay, social media is not a goal. It is a tool to communicate between humans. Social media equals water cooler. Social media equals telephone. Social media equals networking events. Social media equals nightclub. Okay? So I just had to put that out there. It was on my heart very strongly. It's something I talk about very often, but I felt the need to do an Andrea in the Morning post for it because it seems to be a stressor for people, and I feel as though people sometimes receive pressure from my brand because they feel as though they have to do the same thing I'm doing. Well, stay out of my lane. You can't be me. I'm not going to tell you all of my secrets. I'm not going to tell you where I am all the time. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing all the time. And I'm not always going to talk to you. I'm not. Sometimes I completely check out and I go completely off grid. But the people who care, they're not going to go anywhere. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. The very people that you jump through hoops to the point of inconveniencing yourself for are going to be the very people that are going to drop you like a hot potato just because. And you won't even understand why they did it. You did all of these things just to please them, and then you got dropped anyway. So the best thing for you to do is for you to set your priorities and do them according to what you think and what you think is right and what you believe, not to please humans. You cannot do that. The outcome is just never fulfilling enough. So this is Andrea Raquel. I'm coming to you live on this beautiful yet cloudy and rainy morning, fresh after the supermoon eclipse. And I just have to let you know that you're doing it wrong. Social media was never meant to be a priority. And it's nothing but marketing and sales and social media organizations who are driving and promoting the image of you being addicted to social media, of children sitting around with their parents and staring at their phones, of, families getting together or people not being able to pay attention on dates because they're on their phones. If that's you, shame on you, and you need to check yourself. But that's not a realistic picture of humans and society. Yeah, there are some people who are just flat out rude. And if that's your child, you need to deal with your child. But this whole image of and I know that y'all think this. I know that people think, because I hear how people talk to me, oh, well, I can't do it like you do it. Well, why not? I spend way less time on my phone than you do. Way less. So, let's get a realistic picture of our priorities. Let's be honest about what our priorities are. Let's write them down. And then let's write some realistic objectives to accomplish those priorities. And then let's be disciplined about sticking to them. Discipline is a good word. We're not talking about slavery and beating you over your head, making you do something you don't want to do. See, the good thing about social media is unless you work for a company and that's your job, there's no one forcing you to do this. And if you're caught up in peer pressure and caught up in image and trying to do what people say you should do, you're thinking the wrong way. What do you want to do? What are your priorities? And what are you going to do to focus on your priorities, to accomplish your goals, and to get them done? Don't use social media as an excuse. This is Andrea Raquel again. I look forward to talking to you next time. If you have a topic that you'd like me to speak on, please shoot me a note. Don't forget to like my fan page. It's on Facebook.com/Sugar Free Coach. You can follow me on Twitter @SugarFreeCoach. And if you hashtag Living Sugar Free or hashtag TXNL, we will see you. We always reciprocate. And I thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something out of this, and I wish you a most amazing journey and focus and determination and joy and passion to achieve your goals and to fulfill your purpose. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, everyone.